Yes, people, you already know what time it is. KGX to the ZTV back. Chelsea West Ham preview, match week 2. The Blues travel to London Stadium, desperate for all 3 points against a West Ham side that looks to be in disarray. Old manager on the touchline for West Ham, one and only Graham Potter, up against Enzo Maresca and his mighty Blues. Chelsea coming off of a disappointing 0-0 draw at home to start the season against Palace. We talked about it on the match preview, on the match review, I'm sorry. Overall, just not good enough in attack. Defensively, fine. Defensively stout. Keeper was passable. But going forward, too slow, too methodical, not risky enough, not direct enough. Didn't ask as much or as many questions of Dean Henderson as we should have. And in the end, Oliver Glasner set his side up very well, came to the bridge to get a point, got his point, and went back. Match week 2, we move. Now, a lot of fans calling for a few changes in the lineup, right? One of them probably more obvious than the other, and that would be Tosin coming in at center back, central or left-sided center back for young Josh Achipong, who, for all intents and purposes, played well. A lot of folks will kind of hark on his lack of playing risky passes forward. We know he's a better ball carrier as a center back than he is a ball progressor. Couple of mistakes in pass that led to some dangerous situations where he was a little bit too risky, misplaced a couple of passes. But other than that, he was fantastic. No issues with Josh, none whatsoever. And in a normal world or a normal sort of team with healthy center backs, he probably justified and did enough to warrant his place. And warrant a place in the starting 11 versus West Ham. But again, Tosin's back. He's better on the ball in terms of playing those passes. A little bit better in the air, a little bit more physical, a little bit more of a leader, obviously due to his age and those things. So we expect to see Tosin in at center back, right-sided center back. I would expect to see Chalobah play there. But again, like I mentioned before, Josh didn't do anything to warrant not being selected again. But I think he's a little bit further down the pecking order, and especially for what we need from that left-sided center back. Of course, there's also Wesley Fofana, but again, hasn't played any meaningful minutes in a very, very long time. Wouldn't want to risk him from the start because one of the last positions you want to actually rotate is that center back position. You want to save those subs for the odd injury here and there, and usually for an attacking change, or to bring on defensive solidity when you're trying to set up shop and grind out a result. But the rest of the back four and the keeper picked themselves. Cucurella left back we'll see. Sanchez in goal, Reece James at right back. So not worried about the defense at all. Even the keeper, as shaky as he is and as suspect as he is, I'm not as worried about the defense, and that's mostly down to West Ham, down to the opposition, right? So, they're a little bit more on the physical side, right? Especially if they start Fulkrug up top. He's a sort of like old school battering ram type of center forward. Didn't really kick off last year. Was injury ridden. Fluctuations with the manager. They started out with David Moyes, finished with Graham Potter. But they're a real big danger man now that Kudus has moved on. And even when Kudus was there, to me, their talisman was always Jared Bowen. When we played him last year, I think in the game that we won 4-0 or 5-0, he hit the post. He could have had a hat trick. He hit the post 3 times. Unbelievable, like a hat trick of hitting the posts. But just a really, really solid player. If he wasn't family tied to West Ham, he would definitely be at a bigger club. Um, just a very, very solid player. Gets goals in a dysfunctional side. Players like that are probably in what West Ham sees too is probably invaluable for them in terms of them staying up. So he's definitely a player we have to watch. They just shipped off Edson Alvarez um, to Saudi, I want to believe. But again, this is a team that we should be dominating. We really should be dominating them. But at this point, it's just important to get numbers on the board. 3 points. Get out of West London or get out of East London. No injuries, minutes for developmental minutes for the kids and things like that. But most importantly, 3 points. Get off to an early start. Calm the nerves. Let us sort of ease into the game after that. Let West Ham sort of chase the game. Let them open up a little bit. I caught bits and pieces of the Sunderland game on the weekend, so I'm not going to profess to being an expert on West Ham. I did want to take a look real quick, and we'll see. We'll take a look at their lineup that they rolled out. So obviously they went with a 2 up top. So they went with a 3-4, so a 3-4-1-2. Hermansen in goal. I believe he's new. Aguerd, Max Kilman, who's back, and then Todibo, who came in with a decent amount of hype, but failed to really, really impress. I think was benched for a lot of it, and that's saying a lot. The fullbacks, you have Wan-Bissaka and Diouf. I'm not sure if they still have Emerson, old Chelsea left back. I think he won the Champions League with us. Rodriguez in the midfield's got some legs. James Ward-Prowse, we know what he's about, set piece delivery. With a big guy like Fulker up top, you have to be wary of giving away bad fouls in dangerous areas when Ward-Prowse is on the pitch. And then they're 2 creative outlets really. Paqueta, who's kind of fallen off since that rumored $100 million transfer fee to Man City a while back. Then it kind of had the cloud over his head with the betting allegations. So that was probably playing a little bit of part of mentally. Also, I mean, it doesn't help that he's at West Ham. David Moyes, not the most freedom-giving manager. And a player like Paqueta, who's kind of wants to get out, express himself a little bit, Jogo Bonita and all that. Maybe you could say he was kind of stifled a little bit by it, but he did have some good times under Moyes. He's definitely their player that we cannot give time and space to because he can still pick a pass. Bowen, as I talked about before, can run in behind a little bit. Good finisher coming in off his left foot. Good finisher with his weak foot as well. Decent in the air, decent hold up. Just a really, really solid, good overall player. So definitely Callum Wilson also, as you can kind of see there, on the bench as well. Souček still there for some God knows reason. They picked up Kyle Walker-Peters from Southampton days. Edson Alvarez, old Arsenal center back, Propanus. There's Areola. And then these 2 young guys I haven't heard of. Maybe they're academy kids. But as you can see, I mean, a 3-0 thrashing to Sunderland. I mean, they did have more total shots. They did possess the ball a lot, passed it around, but really, really no attacking intent. So, this is a side, like I mentioned before, they're reeling a little bit. Expectations are low for them. Their fan, all it takes is 1 goal, early goal for their fans to sort of turn a little bit and start booing. They're already just, really, really upset with their ownership for not really backing the manager and bringing in some quality players after knowing that they had 55 million or whatever it was that they got for Kudus in their back pocket. So again, man, I think I think we've got a couple of decent shouts in the lineup that I know folks wanted to see. Some folks were shouting for Santos to come in for Enzo, mostly because this Enzo just looked like he didn't have his match fitness, but he's got another week of training underneath underneath his legs. And to be honest with you, he's probably heard and seen some of the stuff on social media and some of the negativity that he kind of received for having a poor game versus in all intents and purposes versus Crystal Palace. But we know Enzo's quality. So I'm to be honest with you, I'm calm. I'm calm with Santos starting. If he wants to mix it up a little bit, I'm also cool with Enzo starting and seeing him get a little bit more legs getting a little bit more fitness in them. So we'll see. We'll see in the midfield. We know Palmer's going to be in that 10. We know Neto's definitely going to be there. Whether or not it's going to be on the left or the right, that depends a lot as to whether or not Maresca throws Esteval into the fire or if he goes with Jamie Gittins again. Again, a little harsh on Gittins, a lot of criticism on him. Folks expected him to just hit the ground running, and he's still a young player. As young as even though he's a little bit older than Esteval, folks have to remember how experienced Esteval is. Esteval has a lot of professional minutes underneath his belt at a young age, including caps for Brazil. So he's used to it. The Brazilian league, we know what they're about after seeing the Club World Cup, physical league. We know that he's just a little bit more mature in that aspect, even though he's younger. So, but it's a big shout. To be honest with you, again, I'm calm with either one. I'm fine with Gittins on the left-hand side again, giving him some run out. I wouldn't mind, seeing him, the manager, stick with him a little bit to boost his confidence some. But then also, from what I've seen with Esteval, I'm okay with Esteval coming in off the right, and I'm okay with moving Neto out in the left so he can send in crosses. I'm fine with it, and I like that. Even though we haven't got Simmons through the door, we've got options in that attack in terms of how do we want to play. We can play, we can have Neto in there when we kind of want to play on the counter a little bit, so because we know he can run in behind him and Delap. We can put Delap on there versus low blocks if we want to send in crosses. We've got João Pedro in there to only play, so we've got a lot of options in attack. It's just a matter of getting them firing, hopefully getting them a little bit more fitness in their legs, getting them up to speed, and really just kind of, like I said, getting that early goal, settling the nerves, and then just allowing us just to play our football, play sound defensive structure. Caicedo out there doing what he does, tackles, recycling the ball, breaking lines with passes and things like that. So definitely a game that we should be looking at to sort of bounce back, to get on, to go on a nice little run, like I mentioned before we end up going to Old Trafford. So we'll see, but I'm definitely feeling confident again. I'm definitely pumped for it. Friday night under the lights, everyone watching, everyone on Chelsea is going to want to put into a good performance. I'm going to go, I think I went 3-1 for the first match. I'm going to go 3-1 too. I'm going to go 3-1 for this one as well. So 3-1. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling about the match. Confident, not confident. Let me know who you want to see starting. And then catch me on the post-match reaction. But hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one. Peace.